we live? Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate that you're here.
We should have projected it to the big screen outside. So
That would have been wonderful for first night out. For those who don't know and are not here, it is first night out and they're having a wonderful time outside and we are in here. Anyway, Ms. Marsh, could you call the roll?
Mr. Dracy is absent. Mrs. Florence Lynch? Here. Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mrs. Russell?
Here.
Mayor Hurd?
I am here. There are no presentations at this time. Are there any reports or comments from any of the volunteers serving our community? No, because they're all downstairs. Okay, next. Next on the agenda is public comment. Public comments here will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period for public comment is reserved later in the meeting. We welcome comments, suggestions, and questions during the public comment period. However, the purpose of this is to allow public comment, not to engage in a dialogue. If you have a specific question, please feel free to post it and then follow up with staff via telephone or email. As a reminder, comments are limited to 3 minutes each. If anybody wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized to come to the microphone and provide your name for the record. Come on up. While she's coming up, we say a lot of public comment in that paragraph, don't we?
Dana Whitsack, 6 Bryan Court, Pequannock. Okay, I'm going to ask my question first. When is the parking lot at the library going to get the potholes filled? And please do not say because of the weather, because I do realize we had many days of rain last week, but we haven't had many days of rain in several months, that it could be fixed. That's just the potholes in the parking lot. That's my question. Okay, no response. Okay.
No, again, as I read before, and I'm just going to say this because it's not meant for that. So we'll collect all the questions, and then if we have answers, we'll actually answer them right afterwards.
Okay. Well, I would like the potholes in the parking lot at the library fixed. How's that?
I will second that.
And sooner rather than later, because last time I heard it was going to be soon, and soon has passed. And then my other comment is, and I'm going to say this again at every meeting, I don't feel that the parking lot, when it gets redone, should be paid for any funds by the library. I do know that it was suggested that 2/3 be paid by the township and then the rest by the library. The township owns the parking lot. They pay for the whole thing. So I would like that, to see that done. That's it. Thank you.
Young lady in the back, do you want to come up?
I was going to wait till the end.
Sure.
Is that okay?
That's works for me.
Comments at the end, right?
Okay. Yeah, we have 2 seconds. Okay. There being no additional public comments, we will continue. Do you have an answer for that?
I don't have a definitive date. I'll follow up with the Public Works Department and let them know and make sure it's expedited. The direction was given, I just have to follow up. There's a lot going on, but...
Perfect.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. It brings good humor. First up on the report, we did receive some news, and we do now have written confirmation, contrary to what is in my written report, that the Borough of Bloomingdale has selected the County of Passaic for their health services for 2025 and beyond, so they will be leaving the health region that is currently served by the Pequannock Township Health Department. My understanding is it has absolutely nothing to do with the level of service. I believe at least one member of the Board of Health resigned as a result of the decision. It is my understanding being driven purely by cost. With respect to Greenview Park, I know there's a lot of discussion and interest in what's going on there, so I wanted to provide a report that the Greenview Park Pond liner project, the liner will be received for the benefit of the audience. We're essentially lining the pond because it doesn't hold water and requires water to be put into it 365 days a year in order to keep water. So we're going to be lining it so it holds the water, and dirt will be put back on top of that, and it will be turned back into a pond by October 1st. With respect to the sports courts, fence was removed over the courts that are receiving the attention in 2025. The surface was milled. The bid is currently out for sidewalks and other projects for 2024, and we anticipate an award hopefully for September 10th. That bid will include the sidewalk, which will serve as the curb for the asphalt. the contractor for the Morris County Co-op will install the asphalt, and then it will be 30 days after that installation that the surface can be applied. So we're trying to get it in as best as we can in 2025. Weather will certainly play a factor on that schedule. The new street, Adams Street and Washington Street reconstruction project, all the curb work, concrete work, sidewalk work, drainage work is complete. We're just scheduling milling and paving, which will be a couple of 3 days, and then that project will be complete. That is a DOT-funded project and greatly in need for the area surrounding the church. We'll see some nice improvements. The 2024 capital program, which I just referenced, is out to bid. That includes Heritage Court reconstruction, Greenview Park sidewalks, aprons, Poplar Avenue, and Rock Ledge sidewalk replacements. So that will be hopefully completed early this fall. The council has for its consideration this evening, change order number 5, Route 23 sewer project. That is drawing to a close. Substantial completion is now anticipated for the first or second week of September.
Wow.
So we're working pretty well on that. Once we got going, we got going. The current change order is, there's a number of items included in the packet. Basically, it's things that were unanticipated in the field. So whether it's concrete where it wasn't expected to be or other changes that had to be addressed. The change order is for an addition of $84,003.11. If approved, the total project will still be $40,000 less than the original contract.
Excellent.
So we may get done a little bit of extra time because of the stoppage, but we may come in at or under budget.
A lot of things that could not be seen, I saw.
Lots. Lots of stuff underground. I mean, it's a complicated project, especially in the area where there's not accurate records with respect to DOT in the state. And lastly, for the discussion item, there's some parking concerns that were identified at a prior meeting and have been forwarded to the township via staff. So I have prepared with Mr. Oostek's assistance a draft ordinance, recommendations from the township engineer, should the council wish to take any action on the items that are identified. Unless there's any question. Oh, and one last thing, the township's emergency management group is looking to recruit members for the CERT team, Community Emergency Response Team. Essentially, this is another volunteer group that comes out and assists when there is a natural disaster. It's more of a formalized group as there's specific training and membership. One of the challenges is we have such a heavily involved volunteer population. So many First Aid Squad members are also fire department members, are also volunteers, so it's you can't draw from the same pool all the time, but there's an active group in Wayne and some of the other surrounding communities, so the group thought that they'd want to give that a shot, so you're going to see a post up on the website tomorrow. If anyone is interested or had any questions, there will be information available.
Okay.
Any questions?
Maybe out on the board too, or no?
sorry?
Maybe out on the board?
Would we be able to volunteer?
Pending stuff.
I will.
Would we be able to volunteer for that?
I don't believe there'd be any prohibition.
Okay.
Question about the courts.
Yes.
I can't remember, are we putting walkway all the way around it, or are we just going around the two sides?
We're going all the way around it because of the positive impact on the stabilizing of the pavement.
Right, for the
Creates a
pavement and
curve.
right.
Yeah.
So the pre-existing tennis pickleball courts and the new, or just the new section that we're doing?
I know it's going completely around the new section. I don't remember if it includes the old section.
Okay.
I can find that out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice, I think, to do that, but
Well, I think the new courts also have rear exits as well. That was the other reason why it was put all the way around.
I will get an answer and report back at the next meeting and let council know once I have the answer.
and I guess the pond, it sure does look deeper, but I guess that's because they took dirt out, put the liner in, and then put dirt back in, and it'd probably end up being the same.
It's going to be a couple feet.
Yeah.
There's going to be a couple more feet of depth, but otherwise.
Yeah, it's only like 3 or 4 feet in the middle.
Yeah.
All right, there are no public hearings scheduled for this event. Next on the agenda is introduction of ordinances. Mrs. Marsh?
Ordinance number 2024-15 is a bond ordinance providing for the elevation of flood-prone homes in and by the Township of Pequannock in the County of Morris, New Jersey, appropriating $1,981,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,981 in bonds or notes of the Township to finance the cost thereof.
Mr. Brewer, any comments?
This is the funding for the 2020 grant round, which finally there was an appropriation and authorization. It's interesting when you start on the 2020 grant round in 2024. But we're just wrapping up 2018.
Oh, gosh.
And how many homes was this?
Alrighty.
Do you know?
I think it started at 15, but it's dwindled down at this point.
Yeah. Are there any comments from council?
No.
Kyle?
Just wish it was fast.
No? Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance number 2024-15.
Can I get a
I'll
second?
second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Hurd?
Yes. Next on the agenda is resolutions. It's going to take a minute. Mrs. Marsh.
Can I have a glass of water? Beginning with Resolution R 2024-156, providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue in the 2024 budget pursuant to NJSA 40A:487. That's for Martin Berry House Landscaping. Those are Chapter 159s for the Railroad Station Construction 2 project. R 2024-158, approving the designated special event permit application for the Holy Spirit Car Show. 159 is another special event for the Marshall Street LLC Car Show. And 160 is a third event application for American Legion Post 242 Car Show. R 2024-161, confirming the designated memberships in the Pequannock Township Fire Department. 162, authorizing an interlocal agreement with Morris County for salting, sanding, and/or plowing operations. 163, authorizing the discretionary awards of contracts for various auto parts to S&A Automotive DB, doing business as P&A Auto Parts, in an amount in excess of $17,500, but not to exceed $40,000. 2024-164, authorizing the execution of a grant agreement with the County of Morris for a 2024 Morris County Historic Preservation Trust Fund Planning Grant for Martin Berry House Landscape Plan. 2024-165, authorizing the execution of a grant agreement with the County of Morris for a 2024 Morris County Historic Preservation Trust Fund Construction Grant for the Pompton Plains Railroad Station. 166, authorizing a contract with Challenger Fence Incorporated through the Morris County Cooperative Fencing Council for fencing materials and installation for the Greenview Park Sports Court project in the amount of $77,600. 167, approving change order number 5 for the Route 23 sewer project, increasing the contract with P&A Contractors of Colonia, New Jersey by $84,003.11 to a revised contract price of $5,658,743.45. 2024-164, authorizing the acceptance of a hold harmless agreement from Michael Jordan for Block 3611, Lot 2, which is 4 New Street. 2024-169, authorizing tax office refunds, overpayments, or cancellations. And R 2024-170, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the August 8th, 2024 bill list and 2018 FEMA elevation escrow list.
Great job, Ms. Marsh. Any questions from council?
Just on 163, it says S&A, it should be P&A on the first sentence there, or first line at the end. Various auto parts to
S&A
S&A should be P&A.
Doing business as P&A.
Oh. Is that
I
right?
don't know if that matters.
What, DNA instead of SNA?
It's on the end of the agenda, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Just a question about...
It is S&A Automotive.
Yeah,
It is
S&A.
S&A is the corporate doing
S&A,
business as.
right.
P&A.
Doing business as P&A.
Yeah, here's the,
And it's right.
It is right then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
You are correct.
I read it, it said P, I saw it in P&A.
Yeah, the invoices say P&A.
Quick question about 2024-156, 157. The insertion of the special item, is that so we can accept the grant?
so that is so we can spend the money. That is an amendment to the budget to include the line of revenue as well as the line of appropriation and allowing us to charge against it.
Okay, sounds good.
That was the same thing I was going to ask.
I
Chapter
knew that.
159, there's 3 different versions, that's one of them.
Any other questions?
What was the new street, Holds Harmless again? I was trying to just...
That was for a fence.
That was just the fence.
Correct.
All right.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
In town.
Great.
How about that? Yeah, I don't
How
think
about that?
Everything else is good. I'm glad we're moving along with all the Martin Berry stuff and the railroad station. All good.
Alrighty, is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolutions R 2024-156 through R 2024-170.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Lawrence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Hurd?
Yes. Next on the agenda, item for discussions, parking concerns, West Parkway and West Franklin Ave.
So if the council wants to refer back to my memo, the supporting documents are behind that. I'll start with West Parkway because that's listed first. Representatives from Atlantic Health reached out to the township engineer with concerns over parking in the vicinity of the driveways to the hospital. Township engineer, when we get these complaints, I think the council's familiar with the process. There's accident review. They walk the site, they take a look at it. The accident history does not support there being an issue with the site distance. There are, I think, 4 or 5 accidents in the specific time period that are related to other intersections in the vicinity of the hospital, but not specific to the hospital's access and egress points. It would not be something, candidly, that the Township of Pequannock would initiate, but if it's a concern that's identified by Atlantic Health and the council wants to grant the concern, it would arguably remove approximately 8 spots for people for parking if they needed it and create greater site distances from the driveways.
We don't have anything where it shows us where they want to do this, or?
It's described in the ordinance. There's a draft ordinance that, along with the township engineer, the township attorney prepared.
So is it by the houses that they own?
There's an existing prohibition on parking within a certain number of feet of the driveway, and it's an additional space beyond that,
So there's 2 driveways going into Chilton.
and wider.
Right.
What about the houses across the street? Do they mean them too? Because they own those houses.
I believe the recommendation for the council's consideration, if the council wants to take action on it, would be limited to the access and egress points to the hospital.
So the 2 driveways.
So only on the Chilton side.
So going southbound. And if the council would rather see a map, that's something we could, there's no time of the essence on this. This was a request
I would
from
need a
Atlantic
map.
Health.
I'd rather see a
If the
map.
council wants to see a map, that's
I'd
something
rather
we
see
certainly
where they
prefer.
exactly want
Yeah.
the yellow curbing.
And especially since there's been no accidents
Right, the
related to
data
their...
doesn't support it
The
anyway.
data doesn't support that there's been accidents.
It's a perceived traffic issue. I mean, there have been accidents at the intersections, specifically West Sunset.
Right, typical.
Right.
And that's coming out of school.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's all the way on the
down.
other end. That's not where
It's-
they're
it's-
asking to have it.
Right. It's not directly related to
Right.
driving into or leaving the hospital.
What's the address?
So if the council would like to see a map, I'll have a map prepared and
Yes,
I would
please.
like to see
We'll have
that.
that presented.
Yeah.
There's yellow curb there.
There are some. They want it wider. And then the second issue, West Franklin. Interestingly, after there was a resident at a council meeting, last meeting who brought this up, I went back and researched our files, and there's documentation from Manager Boyle
Wow.
about this being an issue.
Wow.
They took a big shrub down.
There was a big shrub
At the-
taken down. There has been action immediately taken. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's one more private property resident that's going to be addressing it. So we immediately tried to, improve the situation based upon the complaint that was received. If there was a decision made to eliminate the problem of parking, what the council would legislatively need to do is to restrict parking. The ordinance that's, again, draft, just for consideration and discussion, calls for the prohibition of parking on the northern side, or if you're driving eastbound of the road. Based upon the impact that would be anticipated, and only on Sundays during services. If that were to be done, it would be expected that would overwhelm First Street. So the recommendation in the ordinance also includes prohibition on First Street parking.
One side of First Street or the entire street?
The street from basically that connects to the next nearest streets. Which
I
are
say
again identified in the ordinance.
we have the one resident take care of the issue of the blockage of site, and we let it go for now. I mean,
Okay. I mean, there's an incremental approach. We've addressed, the one
Right,
big
I
shrub has been
agree, I
addressed.
agree with Dave.
I mean, if we make parking on one side of West Franklin, it's just going to go all the way down at West Franklin.
Right.
Instead of
Right.
just on both sides.
You don't really, when you have a situation like this, with a place where a number of people are coming on a regular basis, you don't solve the problem, you just kind of relocate.
Right, you're like,
Right.
and then if First Street gets it, then maybe people are gonna park over at Cam, and then there's Second, and then
And how about
I would wait and see what happens after this bush removal and see.
PD's been engaged, there's been enforcement to make sure people aren't parking too close to driveways or in a way that's unsafe.
I mean, if there's a resident that wants a yellow curb by their driveway, can we do that near the church, or no?
Not and have it be enforceable.
Okay.
Which shrub are you talking about?
That big shrub where the fire hydrant was, they had a big hole cut out for the fire hydrant.
Oh.
They removed the whole thing.
Yeah, so it improves sight distance.
Yeah, so you could stay now.
And as the council may be aware, I've often explained that congestion doesn't necessarily decrease safety.
Slows people
Right,
down.
It slows people down significantly. You know, there's significant concerns regularly voiced over drop-off at schools. But one of the benefits of all the congestion is everybody slows down. So you don't have that accident history that could, when you have a big wide-open street. Think of our big thoroughfares, I'm not going to name them, but we have greater speeds when you have large, wide-open streets than you do when it's constricted in the park.
We can monitor it, and if need be, we can go back to it, but right now, I think we should just...
I agree.
Agree.
Okay, so I'll get a map with respect to West Parkway and
Yeah.
West Franklin. We'll continue with the actions that are identified in mine.
Alrighty. There are no reports and notices. Next on the agenda is council reports and announcements. Mr. Derisi is not here, so Councilwoman Florence Lynch, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to say congratulations to the new members for Engine Company 1, to Caden Chase, Edward Ruggiero, and Michael Yakonis. As far as my committees, no one met this month since the last. Economic Development, I did check with the chair, and they do have plans to have an August 28th Economic Development Committee meeting, because they are finalizing some things with a survey, and they're going to be at the hoedown, and they're working on some new business checklists, and I know that one or two of the EDC members met with the town manager, so we are having an August meeting. The Flood Committee I also reached out to Ken, the chair, on that. He hasn't had a meeting in a while. He plans to call a meeting in September. I'm just not sure if it's the 12th or the 19th, so I'm waiting for the date on that. What else? Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, they have been constantly meeting. They will be having their next meeting on August 21st at 10 o'clock here at Town Hall. They just wanted me to mention that they are hosting a bus trip, which I mentioned at the last meeting, to the Hunterton Hills Playhouse on Tuesday, November 12th. Tickets are $80. They include the bus trip, the show, an entree, a dessert table, coffee and tea, and you can sign up through Parks and Rec, but it is limited to the number of people and to Pequannock seniors only. What else? And then just a couple of dates I'll mention. Looks like we're having a great night tonight with the National Night Out with the police department, so sorry we missed that, but maybe we can catch it on the way out here if I make my
Till 9 o'clock.
maybe if I make my report short enough, we can
There you go.
get there.
Let's go.
What a great idea.
I know. So a couple things real quick. Some of us are in, Some of us are in PV Rotary, so I'll mention some of their dates. They're doing they're always doing fundraising. They're doing September 6th is a golf outing, looking for sponsors and golfers. What else do I have on here? October 4th, of course, we know is the Boys and Girls Club Gala. I have it on their list because they go to that as well and support that. The American, the Rotary is hosting beefsteak at the American Legion Hall in Lincoln Park on October 5th, and that is for the fundraiser for the Veterans Wall. So the the Rotary is donating money to that, so that's what that's for. What else? These can wait.
Are we getting the comedians for that, or no?
Not for that.
Just gonna be a theme?
Yeah, and then like tricky tray, beef and
beef?
tricky
Just the
tray,
beef?
like tricky tray and stuff like that.
We should get the psychic.
Otherwise, it would have been. Maybe we can add that. We'll see. What else we got?
I'll be away.
You'll be away? Okay. I'm sorry, did I mention the golf outing? I did. I think that's it. Oh, the only other, well, somebody else might mention this. The first date I know, September 28th.
Thank you, Mrs. Lynch.
They're Oktoberfest, I wrote down here. Oh, no, I knew I missed something.
The hoedown, you forgot the hoedown on
Senior-
10/19.
Senior Olympics is September 18th. That's what I wanted to mention.
Okay.
All right, now
That's
that
it.
nobody else has
are you
anything
doing
to
it?
say.
I'm doing it now. Go ahead, I'm done. Thank you.
All righty,
Sorry.
Councilman Cole.
All right, thank you. Both fire departments met after our meeting in July. Company 1 moved it because of the holiday. Not much really going on in either fire department.
That's good.
I missed both meetings for the fire departments in August because I was on vacation. The Veterans Wall at the high school is moving along very nicely. Concrete work today and tomorrow. And all of my other committees are kind of quiet for the summer. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Russell.
Was that me? A lot of the boards have not met. There was no planning board meeting. Environmental Mayor's River cleanup is April 12th. Long-term coordinator Rudy, I couldn't think of his last name, I don't know why. What's Rudy's last name?
Steinthal.
What is it?
Steinfeld?
Steinfall.
Yeah. So he's moving. So he will. Yeah, he's moving to South Carolina.
Oh, no.
If he hasn't moved already, yeah.
Another loss.
So,
He did so much for the
is
town.
this his last,
I don't even think he's going to be here for the cleanup. I think the Environmental Commission is going to take it over. It originally was with the Environmental Commission, but then when he left, he
I
was
was
still
going to
running it.
nominate Adam to take over that.
I'll second that.
I think we need a roll call.
Adam, myself, and Bob, we have our own little niche. We love doing that area and the thing.
That's a huge loss.
So yeah, he will be missed. He's done a lot. We should maybe think about doing something for him before he leaves. The environmental is still collecting bags for the Trek benches. So far we have donated 4 benches, and we have a little bit more to go. The styrofoam drive tentatively scheduled for January of 2025. And we lost another one, Spencer Andrea, who's also a long-term. He got a job working for the state, and he's moving to Trenton. So he sent in his resignation. So, and congrats to him. Sounds like it's a great job.
What's he doing for the state, you know?
It's a big, long title, but
Okay.
it sounded really impressive.
Something to do with the environment?
Yes,
Oh,
it
good
does
for him.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, good for him.
We are still searching for a new director. We are going to be putting out an offer. Hopefully she accepts. We're excited to get going. We've done a lot of things there. I'm looking forward to memorializing an agreement that really is long overdue between the township that we're going to be talking about later on. So going forward, we can know who's responsible for what and keep going with that. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, I had my open space meeting. We were just talking about what's next on the agenda, what are we going to go after, what big projects do we want to do. Also had First Aid Squad. So in July, First Aid Squad had 86 calls, 26 were to Cedar Crest. Here's an interesting thing. From January to June, total calls are 666. I don't know what that means, but that's how many calls we had. And then in July, we had 5 all calls during the day and 5 all calls during the night. Don't forget about Oktoberfest, Saturday, September 28th, 2024. Tickets are currently on sale right now. There's going to be 10 food trucks, a bunch of rides for the kids, and it's going to be awesome.
Don't they have like 50-50 Fridays or something?
They have
that we-
50-50 Fridays. They're also doing 50-50 outside as we speak.
What date is that, Ryan? October what?
September 28th.
September 20th.
Oktoberfest is September 28th to
Oktoberfest is
2024.
September 28th.
From 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., which happens to be the marching band day day over at the high school.
Oh,
So that is our big band competition. I believe we have 11 bands this year. Very excited about that as well.
Pray for
did
good
you go,
weather.
when is band camp?
Band camp, we go away on Monday.
And you're going with them again?
I am the chef for band camp.
You are the chef. I
am
love
the
it.
chef.
Good job.
Thank you. And because it's that time of year, we're talking about Oktoberfest, we're talking about cleanup, we're talking about all these things. December 1st is tree lighting. I know it's only August, but
Can we not talk about December?
it's coming. December 1st is a tree lighting. And then last but not least, I have to say, thank God, for the assassination on Trump, that he made it. You never want to see anything like that. There's such division in our country right now. I know it was a while ago, but that's how long it's been since we've actually met, that he was not killed by this crazy person. I believe it was an act of God, and it's just amazing. So kudos to Trump for making it. God bless.
Ryan, can you mention that pancake breakfast?
Yes, pancake
That's why I gave
breakfast.
it to you, because somebody mentioned it, I don't care who.
So let's see, at Applebee's, we have a pancake breakfast for the Pequannock American Legion, post 450. Tickets are $12. It's Sunday, September 22nd, which happens to be my birthday, so everybody better be there. 2024, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. For advanced ticket purchases, contact Wendy Weiss, 201-650-3317. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so
So if you guys want, take a picture of it and then just send it back, because that's the only one I got.
yeah, I took a picture and I will post it. All right, so moving forward, next on the agenda is public comment. As a reminder, we welcome comments, suggestions, and questions rather than dialogue. During the public comment period, the comments are limited to 3 minutes. If anybody wishes to address council, please wait to be recognized to come to the microphone and provide your name for the record. Come on up.
My name is Mary Kay Schmerman. I agree with Dana about the library and the potholes, and I'm looking forward to a date that hopefully they will be filled. I don't understand why it's taken so long in order to get these potholes that are pretty dangerous. I was just there last night, so I hope that it's sooner rather than later. I do have a question about the resolutions that you all just approved, and maybe it's just a matter of not hearing or understanding or other. It says, providing for the insertion of special item of revenue for the Martinberry House. Is that from a grant, or is that budget from Pequannock Township, our taxpayer money? And also 157 for the railroad station construction. Those are two clarifications I need. And then the other thing this is a question possibly for the lawyer, but I really resent what Mayor Hurd just said concerning, it's a political speech that he just made. This is a council for Pequannock Township, so I'm not sure that that is appropriate for you to say that in a council meeting. It's really political, and I just have a question for the lawyer whether or not that's appropriate for a council meeting. That's just a personal question I need clarified, which then leads me to my clarification. And speaking about politics and, I'm sorry, politics and, thank you. There's a November election coming up, and there's always been questions about where political signs are allowed and who's responsible for, if they're not particularly allowed in certain spots, who's responsible for taking them down when they're allowed to be put up. And is it the council's responsibility and clarification? So I have a question too for the lawyer then, I guess. And then also going into that, you're going into closed session for shared services agreement with the library. And so then, as I understand what Kyle just said, you're all going to be deciding who's responsible for what So is what I think what you're saying is who's responsible for paying for the parking lot and other responsibilities, and maybe I have that misconstrued as to what Kyle said, and I know you're going into closed session, but those are just some clarifications I would appreciate.
Okay.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay. So before we move on, we are out of closed session, but I think there's kind of two questions for you, or public session, yes.
So,
Would you like to go first?
Sure, if
All right.
that's the mayor's pleasure. Library potholes, understood.
Gotta fill them.
Don't have a date, don't know if I'm going to have a date, but I will reemphasize it to the Public Works Department.
But they will get filled, right?
They will. With respect to the Chapter 159s, when the budget has been adopted, a Chapter 159 is an amendment to the budget or a change to the budget. In this case, these are two grants, so it's an insertion of an item of revenue that corresponds with an item of appropriation, allowing the money to be legally expended for the specific purpose that is identified.
So it's from a grant.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
I believe it specifically says that, yes.
Yeah. So that is the grant money that we've received. Legally, we have to put these line items in
order to spend it.
To spend it.
Correct.
Because we don't have it there before because we didn't allocate it there because we didn't have the grant money.
Because we just executed the grant agreements.
Okay.
And then, sorry, yeah, those
Sorry.
are now.
Okay. Free speech.
Well, first of all, I am not the arbiter of what's appropriate. Appropriate is a term that refers to what one believes and one thinks is a good thing to say, and that's not really a legal term. So I won't comment on what's appropriate and what's not, but what I will say is it's perfectly legal for a member of the council to express whatever opinions on whatever subject they wish to express those on. It may not be it may not be within their specific jurisdiction and role, but like everybody else like people who come up to the podium have a right to speak about things that don't necessarily have anything to do with the township, so do members of the governing body. So that would be my comment on that. Your question on signage is a good one. It's a little bit more complicated to answer because there's a lot of different kinds of regulations on signs. This last go-round, we had a discussion about signs on utility poles. That is regulated by the state of New Jersey and by the public utilities, and it is the role of the public utilities to enforce that. That is the position we take here. So we do not go around. It's a sensitive issue in terms of free speech and where you put it. So that's one place to put it. It's also an issue when people put signs on township property. We do not allow signs on in township parks and on township property. And we will remove those signs if we see signs put up specifically on township property. Now, what's a little confusing about that is you have the right-of-way along roads, right, that are technically on individuals' properties, but can go over into areas where the public has a right to be. Signs in the right-of-way we do not regulate unless they cause a traffic or a site issue. We don't choose to regulate that. Some towns do regulate when you can put up political signs and when you can take them down. That's a really tough area to get into. The courts have not been particularly friendly to those kind of regulations. We don't do that. I understand the arguments for it, but we don't do that. So that piece of it we don't do. And then there are also regulations about signs in the area of polling places and distances from polling places, and those would be regulated. I believe those would be enforced by the township were we to have issues with that. So I'm sure I haven't covered all the possible places where signs go, but if something more specific you have something more specific in mind, let me know and we'll try to find an answer.
I think we should ban all political signs. Would that be legal?
It would not.
We could create an ordinance, though, correct, Bob?
To not ban all political signs, so Dave.
We could create an ordinance where signs are allowed. Political signs.
We could create...
Banning it.
No, it's not, well, no. We can create an ordinance that regulates signs on our property, and we have.
Which we have.
We don't allow.
Yeah, we don't allow.
I don't think we can create a ordinance that says no political signs on private property. I think people have a right to put their political signs on their own property.
Thank you.
Right, and then there's a lot of question about our property versus county property, and there's a lot of places where all these things intersect, so nobody knows it. So that's why I say we should just, all political signs. Big no. In the township of Pequannock. What do
We
you think?
can't.
We can't.
Can't?
So that's the short answer to that.
I tried. All right. Next is on the agenda is minutes for approval. We have July 9th, 2024. Are there any comments on the minutes?
No, good job.
Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 9th, 2024.
Can I get a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? There we go. Next on the agenda is closed session. Is there a motion to approve?
I'm sorry, can I just say something about minutes? I'm about to hand a whole stack of minutes from 2011 and part of 2012. I'm going to hand them out in advance.
Okay.
And probably put them on the next agenda, so if anybody has any questions for how that gets approved, just ask them in advance, okay?
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
And if I could interject.
Yes, sir.
The township clerk won't be pleased with this, but I just want to let it reflect that this was not from when she was the township. And it was yeoman's work to get the records
I can only imagine.
prepared, put together, and all the actions memorialized for the benefit of the record of the township of Pequannock, which is some 200 years in running. So I credit Carol with a lot of effort and thank her for that, and look forward to having something that was left to her to fix fixed.
So does that mean, Carol, is your objective to go back to 1890s and earlier? I mean, we've been around 260 plus years, right?
I was thoroughly amazed at how many of them are present.
Really?
And all of them, you can find them, they're readable. It's actually pretty impressive.
Do we have everything
attic.
archived?
No,
Like, is there a way to?
no,
get-
they're in big books.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's
That's interesting.
So we had them,
Who's
they were
there,
never approved?
who was there in 2011 and 12?
the prior clerk.
No, us, out of us.
Oh, I don't know.
I know
Yeah, was any of
Melissa's
it-
the last one left.
I was.
I think
Melissa.
That's the year I started. That's what I'm saying. How did that happen?
Melissa, how did you let that ball drop?
Yeah, Melissa.
And I just want you to know that we were talking about the Route 23 sewer project and flooding then.
I believe it.
Wow.
So how are we going to?
We're old as new.
We weren't there.
That's what,
It's going to have to be Melissa.
It's a ministerial act.
Yeah, well, because we will all vote because we can't not vote because we would have nobody to approve of it.
Right.
That's
I
right.
think the council just said I could vote.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I didn't really.
That was also the year of Hurricane Irene.
We call Rich up.
and I'd be happy
Call
to,
Rich and Kathy.
I can supply the tapes of most of the meetings. if
Anyone
anybody
would
would
like to check your work.
That's fun.
All righty. Well, next on the agenda is
Yeah, right.
closed session discussion. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R 2024-171, authorizing the town council to meet in executive session to discuss contract negotiations, shared service agreement, Lincoln Park 911 dispatch, contract negotiations, shared service agreement, Pequannock Public Library, attorney-client privilege.
I'll make that motion.
I get a second. All in
Who was that?
favor?
Who was that?
Aye.
Dave first, Kyle second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? At this time, the public portion of the meeting is recessed for closed session.